This just in. Parker, dead. Tune in tonight at 8 to find out more.
Hey guys, welcome back to CBC, and today we're talking about DC Reboot. And these guys are
They're really rebooting our show.
Without Nazis.
Yeah.
This joke will never end, I swear to God.
So the topic
Person
is...
Brown loves the Nazis.
So...
I blame the wrong you guys. I blame it so much.
Maybe you shouldn't be for fascists. I'm just saying. Like, you made your choice, now deal with it, fascist. So, today's episode...
We're going to talk about DC's Reboot. DC announced their line-wide relaunch of all their titles, ranging from guys like Superman, Batman, to all the more obscure guys like Jonah Hex and whatnot. So, and all the books are getting restarted. Major changes are happening. What else is going on? What do you guys think?
That is what it is. They're basically like, you know what? Let's start for a fresh start because we care more about new readers as opposed to established readers. That's what we're more interested. We think, the established readers are going to stick around no matter what because they always have. Mm-hmm. They're going to stick with us and just reboot the whole thing and hopefully put new readers out of the deal. And new readers, digital and...
Yeah, they are also doing the day and date digital release of everything now for all their books, supposedly.
Is that too much of a risk, though? It's just like, we're going to try and trust the new readers when they're already trying to get used to the old stuff. And now we're going to alienate our...
Well, there is no old stuff.
Eliminating
that's the idea.
But they say that, but with the numbers, but with actuality, the stories are going to remain with certain big titles.
Even that, there's going to be some twisting and turning of it too. It's not like all that stuff that happened with Batman and Green Lantern aren't going to be wiped away completely, but it's going to be affected because there's going to be. They still have to go back and change certain things. Like issue 56 of Green Lantern Corps won't exist to the same degree that it will after the reboot. Everything is being changed up.
Just so everything else can fit in. All their new stuff will work out.
So the continuity will be fitting.
Continuity.
They'll still have
a gift
that's not
exist.
Yeah, they're still going to. They're still going to keep those houses close to what they were because they were already doing so well.
Yeah.
So that's why they're still going to keep on with Green Lantern Corps. You're going to still have Guy and John hanging out together. Now Kyle's going to be with the new Guardians as it is.
True.
Of course, Hal needs to have his own book because only Hal can be in that. Apparently, he's that big of a figurehead. They're changing stuff up in the DC in the Batman family too. Of course, you're going to drop. Now Batman will no longer be played by two characters. There will be no understudy. Nightwing is Dick Grayson's back to be Nightwing.
Well, there's still Batman Inc.
There's still
there will be a Batman in every country.
That's different.
Not about every country. There's a lot of countries out there.
As opposed to Gotham.
Across the world.
But
Paraguay's not going to have Batman in Paraguay, so I'm just saying. There's no.
How can you say for certain?
Because I talked to Garrett Morrison. He told me.
Garrett Morrison?
Yeah,
that's
Grant's
Garrett Morrison.
That's Grant's cousin. That's Grant's cousin.
Uh-huh.
He's a legitimate source.
He talks to him all the time.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
You heard it here, folks.
Garrett Morrison. Well, we're actually setting up an interview with Garrett.
Yeah.
Soon, yeah. Another big change in the Bat family is Barbara Gordon is not going to be Cripple anymore. She will be reprising the role of Batgirl.
Well, if she's going to walk again, I hope Professor X will start walking again.
He already is.
Wait, hasn't? He is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Twice?
Three times.
The lady.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, what do you guys think about that?
Personally, if they wanted her so badly to play Batgirl, why not, before all this?
That was always
healer.
That was always
they heal every other time.
Exactly. Everybody else gets healed. Everybody else comes back from the dead. But she's one of the few characters who has stayed permanently injured through her, her run.
Well, and I enjoy that. I think is awesome because
you enjoy that.
No. I enjoy the
written character,
right?
Yeah.
Because it comes to a writer pens a story, and you see where it actually stayed. Yeah. Where 90% of the time in comics, you have a writer do something amazing, and then 6 months, a year, 5 years later, oh well, we're gonna change that because we
Back
don't
to
like
the way
that.
it was.
Or have people deaths with
Yeah.
comic book deaths. You can have a great comic book death, but then somebody, oh well, I want to use that character, so I'm gonna write a way for them to come back. She is one of those rare occasions that you have a writer that pens something and it stays that way, and they made the character really well rounded with what she did. I mean,
Yeah.
being the hub of information is just, it was a great character for her to be.
Well, on the flip side of that, I don't think that takes away from any of her skills or things that they'll shine on. So they will, obviously, the whole struggles with being handicapped and whatnot will not be there anymore, but her being the analytical type, the ever observant,
But
very
see
deductive reasoning.
that kind of takes it away though
Right.
from what Eric's saying, because see, with the character like Barbara Gordon, aka Oracle, was that writers were given an opportunity to make someone with a disability a strong character, and
That
that's
is
what they
true.
did.
No,
and
I
they made
don't
her
disagree.
as a communication source
Right.
for all superheroes. Her as Batgirl, the superhero community loses that.
Loses that,
They
and
do,
that
but-
just
And
asset.
yeah, exactly. And I think that's something that was created in the DC universe as a strength, something different that you really don't see too often in Marvel universe or anywhere else.
I will counter that with saying that the rising popularity with Cyborg, he's getting a lot more preface up there, and I think Jeff Johns, when he takes a character, he nurtures it until he's ready to just let it.
He never
Go on,
lets
move.
it go.
Yeah, see, that's the thing is, though,
But I think
it's true. He never lets.
I think
he's back from the
first
Flash
it was
and-
first it was Martian Manhunter as that information hub. We had Oracle for a good while now, and you're saying that we won't have that. I think that Cyborg.
See, but
We'll
the thing
fill
is
that.
with Martian Manhunter, he was a communication hub for just the Justice League.
just the JLA.
Oracle was a communication hub for everybody.
JSA, JLA, Batman family, across the
If
board.
If you
But
look
if-
at all the books, if you look at the history of the DC universe, post Crisis, you see
one?
her,
yeah.
the OG.
Okay.
You see her as a communication hub. You look at different books and you see those different teams, those different characters communicating with her. You didn't see that with Martian Manhunter. So she was a unique character where she was a central character for all the books.
That's true.
She was a central connection between all
I
of
just
them.
think that
So
that
I
kind of
really
role-
want you to take back that Martian Manhunter
I don't think I can do that, but
because
I will,
it doesn't stand.
I take away.
I don't know. I just feel like that whole he's integrated within everything, and people today are they always have.
Oh
like
yeah, he's
that-
on Stormwatch only now. So good luck
Yeah.
with that one.
Yeah.
He's on JLA.
No,
he's not.
No, I'm
He's-
sorry. I said Cyborg.
Oh, you're going
Oh.
back to Cyborg.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was
I'm
like,
sorry about
wait
that.
a minute, that's right. He is Stormwatch only now.
I just think that they're going to try to push that way. This is just a guess, and maybe DC's watching and they're taking close.
My
notes.
comments to that too, I think I made to you in passing, is that it's to me it feels like he is that token black character, and I think that Cyborg to me hasn't been that stand-up powerhouse. To be in the JLA, you sometimes should be a powerhouse, in my opinion, and I think that there needs to be, and the problem is too, like they don't have any like that. Like back when they did Milestone comics, they had some, like they had Icon, they had other characters that were powerhouses that could have fit on the JLA and didn't for whatever reason. That's a whole other story. But I think that they could pull back from that stuff after this whole relaunch and bring some of those characters back,
Possible.
or have some other, because it just seems like he's a filler piece. I like Cyborg. I think he fits with the Titans because he's that right age range. But I just feels like they should find another character to fit in there. And
Well, I mean, like he hasn't had his chance yet, and this is the opportunity to rise him. I mean, how often do people? I know I'm full on the side of Aquaman being a strong guy, and
Yeah.
he's a badass and everything. But a lot of people look at him as like, who's Aquaman?
Yeah.
And
He's
still
the king
he was
of all
a-
the ocean.
I know,
Yeah.
but I mean,
that covers more Earth than land.
Yeah.
look at popular media, and you see that he isn't that often, regarded as a one of the big three with them. I mean, but he's still been able to push and be a popular character and be a prominent role. I think Cyborg just has just as much of an opportunity. Also, to say about the prominent black characters, or just any ethnic or race, you also have the new Mr. Terrific title that is
That is
purely
true.
just that. There's unfortunately no JSA title. I don't know why, but there is a Mr. Terrific title, which is, I think, one of the...
And I think the thing about it too is that at the moment, at launch, there's going to be 52 titles. You know some of them are not going to last.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know that there's going to be, and if they're going to stick to the 52 number overall, that's a question. If they're going to cancel some and then bring in new ones because they're like, you know what, this one over here is this Blackhawks isn't working, and we're going to bring in a different title. Not saying I don't like Blackhawks, I just think that I'm curious as how well that'll succeed in the
Hawk and
market.
Dove.
Or even when
Hawk
next
and Dove.
summer,
Oh God, Hawk and Dove.
Yeah.
or even when next summer they're gonna have probably another event, and they're gonna be like characters die, things will change, titles will cancel.
It'll shake, shocking.
Barbara Gordon is back in a wheelchair.
Yeah. See, and that's my biggest problem with comics as a fan is that, you know, they're like thinking more about what they're going to make in the way of money by making it a number one, or when they make it a number one, go back and reboot it.
Oh,
and then
we're at issue 900.
and then they
that's-
go 20, maybe 30 issues and go, oh, we're going back to the original numbering, and this is what's really happened, or you know, this is an alternate reality. That's why it didn't keep any continuity. We're just leaving it behind.
To give you guys a history, Eric is a big X-Men fan, and with Uncanny X-Men going to be canceled soon, he'll be very curious as to why they're going to end it all over and then go back to the original numbering. It's a funny thing, too, with when they cut FF and they relaunched that.
Yeah.
It's exactly 12 issues. It's 1 year. Once the anniversary hits, it'll be right back to the original numbering. If you look at the numbers, it's at 588. So exactly.
And that also goes back to, you know, long-running series. Two of the longest-running series in comic books altogether, Detective Comics and Action Comics, going back to number one.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't get me wrong,
It's not
I'm
the first
actually a
time,
fan
though.
of the creative team of Action Comics, but it's like you enjoy when a comic book goes on for that long.
Right.
You know, you
But
And
the
you know,
opposite
and
side-
you know
expect
history
that.
to it.
Some
Exactly.
new
That's the
readers
key.
come into the shop and like, where do I jump in? He's like, well, currently they're on part 3 of a 7-part story.
There's like
on
20 Superman titles every month. Pick a book.
Well-
There's always a number one.
Or
They
it
can pick
is
at any time.
daunting though for some people.
Or you
like,
have-
oh
or you
wait,
have
is
someone
this-
like-
But see,
is
but
this
see, that's the
Superman?
thing. Is that one good thing about comic book companies is that they can give options. You don't have to stay with the current
I
series
agree
that's
with
happening.
you, but for the average fan, they're just like,
That's
I
why
just
there's
wanna
options.
read, I wanna read
and
a
that's
book.
why you pick a new series, a mini series. Pick up a trade. There's a
They don't
number
know
of
that.
options to go.
That's
That's
why they come
what
to a
the
shop.
comic book
Yeah, or- exactly.
comic book store employees do. They
That's
tell you what
they're
to
there
do.
for.
I understand that.
Or you can go online and
a great-
check. I mean, there's so many
where
options
should I
you
start
can
with
do.
this? Where should I start? And I want to read Superman. Where should I start with this? I'm asking you, as you know, as a customer, come into and talk to an
If you're
employee.
lucky enough
Where-
to have friends and
Or-
you have,
or-
you have people who
or-
work
A
somewhere.
friend who tells me to read
Or
Rest
you
in
have-
Peace and Final Crisis, ladies and
you find a
gentlemen.
place that you walk in and you say, I really want to read this title. Where should I start? And that's when they go back. They go into either trades or there's something really good going on that you may have some, some
Well, I see,
idea.
and
But then you go from there.
I think this goes into the digital side of things where they're not going to always have people near a comic book shop. People do get books online. People do get them on their iPods, iPads, and they don't have someone there to recommend.
But at the
They
same
have
time,
foreign
how
people
many
that
message
rate.
boards, how many websites are out there? You can just Google on where do I start with Superman, and you can go on Amazon. They'll give you a list of
I almost
stuff.
say that-
There's you can what's cool with like a place like Amazon is that you can see other people's wish lists, and you could just go from there. There are recommendations and stuff like that.
Your faith in people's logic is,
Yeah,
is
I would almost have to argue.
But I mean, okay, if you're a fan enough, if you want to delve into something, if you want to start something, you'll take that effort and go into that. So you'll
that is
do
true,
your
but
research.
DC wants to just get the guy that just has an
Yeah.
extra that is there at the moment. They want like a spontaneous buy. Like, I
And
just
it
saw
goes back to what Ken says at slapping the face of the long-time readers.
They're looking for the impulse buy is what you're saying.
Yeah.
And that impulse buy is just on that app. They're not gonna if it's an impulse buy, they're not gonna care whether they like, oh well it's this one I can pick up here. The impulse buys are listed there easily for them to see. Like, oh, there's a Superman comic. If they just want to impulse buy it real quick, and it's just a tap of the finger, they'll buy it for $2.99, $1.99 if they're going for that aspect. I think that overall, I mean, things are definitely changing right now in comic books and dealing with also how digital releases are versus storefront. I think that to a certain degree that the companies are banning the storefront because they know that that's not. I mean, they know that those customers might always be there, and they're going to you know what? Let's just worry about our digital people now. And
Well, yeah, that's why I think this reboot is. I think is more important side of things is the digital side. The reboot. I mean, I've seen DC do it many times before. This is the first time, sure, they've done it line wide. I agree, and they're doing a lot of drastic changes. But I really doubt it's going to last. And if it does, then they're going to find something later to do, like we said.
Well, but
it's
that's
the digital.
point. Why are they doing it if it's not going to last? Why they bother to do it in the first place?
Other
than to make the money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
That's
my
the
biggest
digital
problem
side of
with
thing
that.
that I'm worried more about.
That's
is
not
that
even digital too. I mean that's whether digital or not. They just want to make that fast buck.
If it doesn't work, if it does work, great. They have the money and they'll continue it. It doesn't work. All they do is just, we're going to change this right back in
Green Lantern movie,
you know. So that's my problem with it is that, like with Ken, it's a slap in the face to us, you know, fans that really enjoy these characters and we really enjoy their history, you know, and how they got to where they are now.
Yeah, I like
progress.
I don't like status quo.
Right, but that's the thing. They're cutting all of that and starting anew.
Yeah.
Sometimes, don't get me wrong. There's some books that, you know, it's okay. But for a complete overhaul of a complete line, you know.
This same argument
It's
came
just a
out
lot.
too with the host. In my opinion, this argument was here too with Spider-Man: Brand New Day. Spider-Man: Brand New Day. It was the idea was we're getting rid of Mary Jane so you can write Spider-Man being single again and writing new stories.
Right.
They felt that he'd gotten stagnant. The only problem with that was they had a highly successful line called Ultimate Comics Spider-Man.
Which
Not,
was that?
at the time it was called Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But that storyline had Spider-Man being a kid, he was single, those stories were selling. You have that continuity for the people who
You have both.
Right, exactly. That's why my thing comes in. Like, why did they feel the need to go back with the main title, just completely fudge continuity? And maybe that's possibly where DC's coming from too. They're like, you know what? People are still buying Spider-Man comics even after they decided to have him make a deal with the devil.
Right.
And they're okay with that. We'll just follow their lead and go that route.
Right.
I wasn't a fan of Brand New Day, and I don't know how much I'm going to be a fan of this. I mean, I have little things, and so no matter what, with comics, like I said about the Ultimate Spider-Man death, which, by the way, he dies, sorry to tell you that, but nothing's permanent. No matter what you do, it's going to
comics.
Yeah.
Well, but that goes into what I'm talking about. You have Ultimate Spider-Man. You know, they've had a run up to 120 something.
Yeah.
Okay, then Ultimatum happened.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what do? They restart
Ultimate Spider-Man,
Spider-Man Ultimate or however it is, and after 10, 15 issues, they put it back to the original numbering. There's no reason for that. It's just an irritation for me.
One thing I remember we were talking about was the creative teams behind these new books. One thing was that they're getting a lot of artists as writers, and you were saying that a lot of artists that are currently in the mainstay of the DC...
It's both artists and writers.
Yeah.
That are, it's a lot of creators that you became fans of in certain books. You haven't noticed are on any of the creative books coming out in September for DC.
Yeah.
One that comes off the top of my head is Chris Robson. He's doing a number of books for DC, but he's just dropped off all the stuff in September except for the Vertigo stuff, which obviously it's not getting affected by the whole change in DC. But there's him. There's a number of different artists like Jock. Jock's one of them. And some, I've read articles where they're saying, they're moving on to different projects and stuff like that. But there's a lot of writers and artists saying, yeah, there's nothing. I'm really done in August. That's it. And these are really good creative people.
Mainstays who've
exactly.
been there for years.
Yeah.
In the trade.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we could keep going on about this.
Definitely.
Final thought. What are your thoughts going into the relaunch?
I really care about 2% of everything that's going on with DC.
Maybe 5. I mean, it's just because, as I said before, nothing's permanent, and they just like.
It's both a gift and a curse to what the comic book.
More curse, but yeah,
more curse.
Because it's just like they feel since that nothing's permanent.
It's a huge experiment. That's what it is.
It's
a huge experiment, and they'll worry about the costs when they get there.
Yeah. When it's done. Me, about the same with Victor. 1-2%. Not interested really.
There's about 5% of it that I'm interested in off the go, and I'm kind of skeptical about the rest.
I really don't know how I feel. I just want to see what the end result's going to be.
There's no Iron Man in DC, so he really doesn't.
Or Nazi.
There's not enough Nazis.
I have some investments in some of the characters. It's just I'm curious where it's going to go because it's just I don't know. I'm curious how they're going to change up things.
Well, even Sergeant Rock is taking place during the main timeline now. So
Theater War. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you guys see you next time.
Hope you enjoy it.
Good evening, and welcome to the CBC News.
In recent news, Marvel mourns the loss of one of their greatest superheroes, Ultimate Spider-Man, also known as Peter Parker. He and his former villain, Green Goblin, also known as Norman Osborn, had a very tragic and violent fight in the past month, ending with the demise of both hero and villain. While one of Spider-Man's ultimate villains, Green Goblin, has finally passed away, so has the hero himself. It is truly a sad day for Marvel, and he will be sorely missed.
Gene Colan, comic book legend, has recently passed away at the age of 84. Though he will be missed, and his loss will be mourned, his legend will live on.
Also in recent news, DC has just announced that they're starting a line-wide reboot of all their franchise characters, starting from Superman and Batman all the way to Animal Man the Swamp Thing. This line-wide reboot will begin in August as soon as DC's most recent event, Flashpoint, concludes.
Amongst these changes, Dick Grayson will be reprising his role as Nightwing.
Along with that, the much beloved but twisted series, Secret Six, written by Gail Simone, will no longer be.
Legendary writer and creative superstar Grant Morrison will be returning to familiar grounds writing Superman in Action Comics.
DC's chief creative officer and well-known writer, Jeff Johns, will be taking over JLA when it gets relaunched in August. Along with him, Jim Lee will be taking over the artistic duties of that comic as well.
And rising DC stars Scott Snyder and Jeff Lemire will be writing several of DC's new books, including Detective Comics and Animal Man.
And one of the biggest controversies is Barbara Gordon returning as Batgirl, written by Gail Simone. Many of the fans are upset that Miss Gordon will no longer represent a role model for those facing handicap struggles. This has been the Comic Book Core News. Good night and good luck.
Long and prosperous.